Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Marked by Wrestling presents predictions for Great American Bash, Saturday night's main event, and Evolution. I'm your host, Marked by Wrestling. So glad you guys could be here this evening. And I am just getting some things squared away right now as we get started tonight. So sorry if I just got a little bit delayed in getting here. Hi, Shimonica. Good to see you. Hi, Sophie. I just got home from seeing the new Superman film with my family. So we went and saw it in IMAX today. Had a really good time. So, if that's something that you were looking forward to going to and seeing this weekend or sometime this summer, let me encourage you to follow through with that. It was a great time. We really enjoyed it. So got a lot of fun. So to my understanding, A and B are all back and ready to roll tomorrow for Smackdown. So we'll both be doing Smackdown on our channels. And Saturday, I'll be running all three shows all weekend. So I'll be doing Great American Bash, and we'll both be doing Saturday night's main event, and I think Evolution as well. So anyway, yeah, Shimonica, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There was just so much joy in the movie, just so much joy. It was a lot of fun. So I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. So all right. So I know since I didn't get started on time, shame on me. I am going to dive right in and get started with our predictions. And so I'm going to start. We're going to go in order of the shows, and I will do my best to just kind of work my way up the card for each show. Don't really have a match order, that's announced yet, but we'll do our best to get through it all and go from there. So for starters, let's start with NXT, the Great American Bash, all three shows this weekend, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, the Allstate Arena, I believe. So got plenty of exciting matches, plenty of matches that I think can really over deliver and steal the show with NXT. And starting right off, we've got Jasper Troy, the LFG winner, versus Javon Evans, the young blood, the young OG, in a match that was just added to the card this week, just 2 days ago. So they will be squaring off at the Great American Bash in a typical one-on-one, Jasper Troy and Javon Evans. So honestly, it's kind of a tough call with Jasper and Javon, because on the one hand, Javon has been around for a while in NXT and has had a lot of high-profile matchups with other performers. And meanwhile, Jasper just got here from LFG, came right to the main event and had a match with Obafemi, which he come up short and didn't win the title. Now he is caught the ire of Javon Evans. And so I think we're going to have a lot of visually impressive, power versus agility matchups in this match between Javon and Jasper. But at the end of the day, it seems like they want to invest in Jasper going forward. And that leaves me a little puzzled as to where they might be going with Javon, because I'm surprised to see that Javon still has not won a title in NXT yet, for all of the for all of the great matches he's given, for all the great ring presence he has, that they haven't actually acknowledged him with a title yet. And so, the North American title is all locked up right now in a feud that we'll get to in a second. And of course, nobody has gotten past Obafemi yet. So I'm curious what the future holds for Javon in that way. But let me go ahead and mark it down. My pick for Javon Evans versus Jasper Troy, I'm gonna go with Jasper Troy. I think the newcomer, I think he will find a way to succeed in his PLE debut. I think he'll find a way to overcome Javon Evans, but I think Javon's going to make it look amazing. So let that be marked down. Mark Bar Wrestling calling for Jasper Troy winning that match. Coming up next, we have a Falls Count Anywhere match for the North American title. Ethan Page, our champion, versus former champion and challenger Ricky Saints, who defeated the Vanity Project, and which is Swipe Right and Jackson Drake from Evolve on this week's NXT in order to claim that stipulation against Ethan Page. So, you know what? This is another puzzling one for me too, because, you know, you've got these two ex-AEW guys. Ethan Page, a former NXT champion. Ricky Saints, also a former North American champion. They both have held this title. And I just wonder, much like the Javon Evans match, depending on how this match goes, I wonder if it will be telling what the future holds for either one of these men. I do wonder how this goes. Tyrell Breed. Hi, good to see you, Tyrell. Thank you for joining us tonight. I've only gotten one prediction out so far, predicting Jasper Troy over Javon Evans. So I wonder if the finish of this matchup will somehow be foreboding to what the futures are going to be for both men, because, you know, there's always whispers of call-ups, right? And I think there's been whispers of call-ups for both Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. Some people even fantasy booking Ethan Page into Seth Rollins' faction, which I think is a bit much. And that's somebody who likes Ethan Page too. I don't think either one of them quite ready to go to the main roster and to ascend to a main event story on one of the main shows. But for the purposes of making a prediction on this match, I just feel like the momentum is with Ricky Saints, and I think he'll regain the title. And maybe Ethan Page moves back up to challenge Obafemi again. I don't know. But I don't know. I just feel like the momentum is with Ricky on this one. So mark me down for Ricky Saints for the Falls Count Anywhere North American title match. I think that'll work in his favor. Although Ricky will probably need to look out for the Vanity Project in a Falls Count Anywhere match, since it's going to be no DQ, and you know, there's going to be something there. So that being what it is, we will just trying to get things banner on here for fun's sake. So put me down for Ricky Saints for that match. All right, so that's 2 down. There are 3 more matches left to call in this show. However, something that was announced for Great American Bash that's not a match is a title contract signing for the TNA title between Joe Hendry, Mike Santana, and of course reigning TNA champion Trick Williams. Like with every single contract signing, at least for the past 20 years, somebody probably will end up going through the table in some form or fashion in this segment. My just question is, who's it going to be? And you know what? I'm starting to wonder. I think it might be Trick. I think Joe and Mike team up and put Trick through that table. And send a message that TNA collectively is coming back for that title. As to who wins that match, I don't know, because I'm not going to predict Slammiversary, and I don't watch Impact, so I haven't been fully educated on the storyline of the TNA title other than what Trick is showing on NXT. So, nevertheless, it's been a very interesting road. To have an NXT talent be TNA champion actively. So I think that's been a lot of fun. And honestly, I kind of hope that they do the favors and vice versa. At some point, have a TNA talent hold one of the NXT titles. I think that could be a whole lot of fun. So moving along to more title matches. Good evening, Teflon Don, my mod father. So good to see you. So glad you're here as we are moving along here in the Great American Bash portion of predictions. So moving along, the women's North American title, the 2-belt holding Sol Ruka, also the Speed champion, which, hey, she at least shows it on TV, which is more than I can say for on Raw and SmackDown. Now, she will be defending against Izzy Dame, which I will say that, this felt like a slam dunk in the beginning for Sol Ruka, because she's Sol Ruka and Izzy Dame. God bless her. She's getting better and better every week, but is also Izzy Dame. 1 second, everyone. So the thing here is that Justin Howland Crane, so good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us in the chat. I am a little more open to the idea of Izzy Dame winning this match. Now, I think Sol Ruka is amazing, and I don't know how backed up the NXT title picture is going to be, but I have a strong feeling that one of these days, no matter who the champion is, that NXT is going to want Sol Ruka challenging for the NXT championship, the big one. I think she's done a fine job. She hasn't had a ton of title defenses for the North American title, but she's looked good in every single one she's had. And her and Zarya have had this ongoing story with Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley, and even lost to them recently in the whatchamacallit, and on NXT television 2 weeks ago, I think. But also Sol Ruka going to be working double duty this weekend as well. Her and Zarya will be challenging at Evolution for the women's tag team titles. So more on that later on in the show. But as for now, I think Tatum Paxley and Zarya may get involved in this match. And I think too many things may end up backfiring. And I think Izzy Dame may come out on top as the new North American Women's Champion. So it's a difference between predicting what I think will happen versus what I want to happen. But call me crazy, but I think Izzy Dame may take this one. I think the numbers game may come into play. The chemistry between Sol and Zarya has been a little suspect as of late. Not that, I think they're on the verge of breaking up, but they just haven't been on the same page a lot. So I'm going to call for Izzy Dame to win this match. Justin also predicting Izzy with Roxy's help. Interesting. Okay. You think Roxy may help, or do you mean Tatum, Justin? Because Roxy's a bold pick as well. I'm definitely assuming Tatum's help, or even Zarya's backfiring help, may cause that title change. That's where I land on that. So, all right. So there goes that match. We're coming up to what I'm assuming is the semi-main event, a tag team match between two members of Fatal Influence, NXT Women's Champion Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley versus Big Mama Pump, Jordynne Grace, and the debuting, formerly known as Mariah May, Blake Monroe. Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley versus Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe. The fact of the matter is this: we have Blake's debut in NXT in this match. It is her in-ring debut. The prevailing story around Jacy Jayne, even though she's had some successful, I think she's had a successful title defense or two since winning the title from Stephanie Vaquer. Her whole aura around her story is trying to dispel the theory that she is the most beatable women's champion in NXT history. And so they keep revisiting that phrasing with her, and coupling that with how things are going. I think it's a slam dunk. I think this is probably the easiest pick of the night, that Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe win this match. And maybe even Jordynne Grace pins Jacy Jayne in this tag match to set up the fact that Jacy Jayne is so beatable going into that title match on Sunday at Evolution. If I'm booking that match, I'm having Jordynne and Blake not necessarily destroy them, but like definitively win that match, and maybe have Jacy take the pin going into the title match to really raise and elevate the stakes of hope for her losing the title on Sunday. So mark me down for that one. I do think that's the easy one. I think Jacy takes the pin. I think Jordynne pins Jacy. I mean, maybe Blake pins her, because if, let's say this, let's say this, everybody. If Blake, since it's her debut, if she pins JC Jane, and Jordan somehow comes up short on Sunday, then Blake Monroe can have a reasoning, can have a justification for challenging, being the next challenger for the women's title. So actually, let me amend that really quick. I'm going to say Blake Monroe pins JC Jane. But either way, I think JC Jane's the one getting pinned in this match. And it would be pretty wild if there was some kind of miscommunication between Fallon Henley and JC Jane, because they haven't 100% been on the same page since JC won the title either. So something to consider. Sorry, everybody. Popcorn was extra salty today. And that just sounds like a joke, but it really was when I was at the movie theater. It's crazy. Mrs. Mark My Wrestling was theorizing they might have given us a batch of popcorn from like the bottom of the machine where all the salt was collected, you know? So anyway, that's made me extra thirsty tonight, which is good because I've got a big old thing of water to get me through the rest of the show. All right. So feel free, you guys, you know, to be dropping your own predictions in the comments as well. I'm interested in what you guys think. And of course, while I am making my way through 3 shows worth of predictions tonight, if you guys have any questions or comments or whatever, you know, feel free. I can go through all that as well. So let's move along. That is time now to get to our main event of the Great American Bash, which is for the NXT Championship. And it is the ruler, Obafemi, versus Yoshiki Inamura, the little Inamura that could, you know, who has been tag teaming with Josh Briggs lately, and just winning over the crowd every single week. Just a hard hitting competitor. Justin, you think Fallon will take the pin? I mean, that honestly is probably the most sensible solution out of all 4 of the ladies in that match. She's probably the most pinnable, and that's just absolutely no disrespect to Fallon, but just where everybody stands right now going into Evolution on top of this one match as well. So I think that's a safe pick for sure. Inamura, man, has won me over. I remember when I started live streaming with you guys for NXT, Inamura and then Hank and Tank were both guys that I just kind of like didn't pay a ton of attention into these characters and these performers, but those 3 guys won me over big time. And Inamura, just like his genuineness is really endearing, and honestly, I'm really loving Obafemi's his sort of babyface versus babyface matchups lately, because he's really cutting his teeth on making better and better promos too. Like Obafemi is doing a really good job of these sort of old school champion promos where he actually puts over the qualities of his opponent, but still the period at the end of the sentence is, I am the champion, and I'm still going to be the champion when this is all said and done. So he's been doing great work. He did great work with Miles Bourne in the lead up to their match, and he's done a lot of great work too, sort of, you know, attempting to squash the dreams of Inamura as well, who had a great video package on Tuesday with a bunch of performers from Pro Wrestling Noah sending messages. Not the least of which was WWE Hall of Famer and all-time great, the Great Muta, as well, and also an appearance from Io Sky, which was really cool to sort of harmonize all that and gather support behind Inamura. Riggerty, good to see you, sir. Novane Machino. Cena's going to be at, let's see, San Antonio in July. Oh, well, yeah, so they'll be in Atlanta. So I don't know, you know, what he'll be doing there. But well, I appreciate you being in the stream, Modfather, man. You raise the level of quality just with your presence every single time. If Muta was in the building, Justin, I think that would be fantastic. And honestly, I think that would add some allure to and build to the match, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm picking Obafemi for this match, by the way. I just don't believe that they want to. They're in this phase of Obafemi's title reign where, like, they don't have a ton of believable challengers for Oba that you really believe could take the title off of him that aren't like brand new, like Jasper Troy or somebody. So like when someone matches up against Obafemi these days, it's like they've been here long enough to challenge, but I just don't believe they're strong enough to beat Obafemi. Or they actually really are strong enough, but they just got here, so probably not. And they're like a rookie, you know? So right now, I still think Obafemi he's a safe pick, but than any other on Great American Bash, because I think these two guys will show out for each other, and I really think they could build the anticipation for this match and not have all of Atlanta just assuming Obafemi's going to win. If they do manage to bring people like Muta in and put him in the crowd, you know, like after they do the backstage segments and they cut to somebody sitting in the front row, like bringing Muta out there would be so cool. Or having Io come a little early, you know, since she'll be there anyways Sunday, having her there and others. Briggs, yeah, I mean Briggs could get involved because he is that is interesting. So there's a story there too, and I hope they don't do some breakup angle with Briggs and Inamura, but they teased this on Tuesday that Inamura was committed to being an honorable challenger, you know, like a true baby face. Hey, may the best man win. I'm gonna take you. And all this stuff. But Briggs started running his mouth on behalf of Inamura without his permission to say, well, you know what, Inamura, my partner, he's a good, you know, he's an honorable man, but I'm not. And, you know, he's like, I'll drop you. Which, honestly, Briggs did look kind of menacing. I did not realize that he's bigger than Obafemi until they're standing right next to each other, which was pretty intense. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, I still think Obafemi's going to take that one. And hopefully there's still some fun for Briggs and Inamura to have in NXT. And I'd be very curious if it's not Jasper Troy, who the next world title contender would be for Obafemi and what that story is. Briggs is a big dude, man. I just never realized how big he really was until I saw him square up with Obafemi. That is a tall, thick dude. Like he could have back in the day could have been like a Barry Windham or a JBL or a Magnum TA, like these sort of cowboy gimmick dudes who were just big, thick boys. Like, I mean, they just are like, and you know, sometimes when you see those cowboy gimmicks from back in the day, you kind of take for granted that you think that they're maybe a little scrawny or something, but then you see them up against another big dude and you're like, oh, this guy's actually a lot bigger than I thought. Briggs absolutely fits that bill for me. Like, totally. Farm boy indeed, man. Yeah. Corn-fed and all that good stuff, man. I would love to see someone from Noah show up, not necessarily get involved because I don't know how educated the crowd would be on that. I certainly wouldn't be unless it was Muta or Io, which they're not going to consider her a Noah talent at this point. And I honestly wouldn't have considered Muta a Noah talent either because I, learned about him in the NWA in the 80s in WCW. So, but yeah, after the match, yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, I imagine that whatever happens after the match, we will get a bit of an appetizer for whoever the next challenger for the NXT title actually is. NXT is pretty good about that. And so I think the way they book NXT, both on TV and on PLEs, they do a really good job of not only telling you where they came from and where they are, but where they're about to go next without spilling everything. So I think there will be something to glean from after that match to figure out where we're going next. So there's that. All right. So we're going to move along now to Saturday and Saturday night's main event, baby. The Retro Extravaganza airing on NBC and Peacock. Now, at current time, I'm doing this before SmackDown. So I am only aware for matches. I actually heard about a fourth match that was announced this morning that I actually don't have a graphic for. Sorry. But they have announced, first of all, that Solo Sikoa will be defending the U.S. title against Jimmy Uso on Saturday night's main event in Atlanta. So Solo and Jimmy going one-on-one for the U.S. title in that match. They may end up adding another match to it because that'll be 4 matches, and usually 5 is the lucky number. So they may add a 5th match tomorrow during SmackDown. We'll see what happens. But and if that's the case, while I'm streaming tomorrow, I'll give my prediction for that match right then and there. But as for now, I'm probably going to lean into saying Solo Sikoa retains that title. I mean, he just strapped himself up with a whole new faction. Interestingly enough, a bloodline that doesn't have any Fatu bloodline in it anymore. Like, he's the only member of that family tree who's in that faction now. So he really does have his own with all the, Tongans and JC Mateo there with him. So he really is running things now as U.S. champion. And but at the same time, Jacob's still hot on his heels. So Jimmy Uso as the challenger, I think, may give us a fun moment in between, here. But at the end of the day, I'm sure that numbers game will overcome and Jimmy will come up short. So got to give me Solo in that match. Now, moving along, coming up next, also announced last week, Drew McIntyre, a returning Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton here on Saturday night's main event. 1-on-1. No word about any kind of stipulations at all. So I think will we see Tama Tonga? I don't even know what Tama's status is, if he's healed up yet or not. But yeah, that would be interesting to see if Tama comes back to the fold in that regard. But in terms of Randy and Drew, yeah, I think it's just a straight up 1-on-1 match, but we just got Drew back. And again, that just now returning factor. I mean, I've got to, especially if you look back at Ishan, hey, hi, how you doing? If they, at the last Saturday night's main event, Drew McIntyre lost that cage match to Damian Priest, it just seems sensible to me that he would find a way to beat Randy Orton. By hell or high water, hook or by crook, cheating to win, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I think Drew takes this one. And Randy, I think just, he'll put on a good match like he always does. But I think Drew will come out on top for that one. And I think that's a pretty safe bet for my likings. Moving along, the only other 2 matches we have left, one is LA Knight, taking on the leader of one of the most talked about factions in WWE now, Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank. And, we talked about wrestling math a lot lately on the live streams. And one of those things being whenever you have something going on where a wrestler keeps ending up on top and, different pull apart fights and segments, the other guy's probably going to win at the show. I just am starting to wonder if Seth is making too many enemies. And also, I know Hunter is a different booker than Vince was. So I may be holding Hunter to a thought process that he doesn't really execute. But Money in the Bank winners sometimes fall short so they can triumph later and cashing in on things. And I could just really see CM Punk or Penta or someone else showing up to ruin Seth's night in hopes that, it would just ruin Seth and LA Knight sneaking out a win. They really seem to be building up LA Knight quite a bit for this match. So I don't know, man. There's just a part of me that wants to believe LA Knight, even if in the long run he's not going to do any damage to Seth Rollins in that faction. Just legitimizing him in any kind of way to move him to another thing, I think would be great. So anyway, that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to go with LA Knight for that match. against my typical guesses. And yeah, I think CM Punk may show up. I think it may be Penta. I think it may be Jey Uso. I think it may be someone else, but somebody's going to get involved and really put a damper on Seth's evening. That's my guess in that regard. So with that in mind, here we go to our main event, the selling point of Saturday night's main event. World champion Gunther defending against the returning Goldberg, who may or may not be having his retirement match this night. And Michael Cole has said many times in the course of the past couple of broadcasts that if that Goldberg would retire if he loses, but if he wins, basically he's been coy as to whether or not he will continue wrestling. So here we go. Now, I got to say this. I grew up, my high school years were when Goldberg was in his prime, in his WCW streak days. And man, that dude caught fire like very few performers ever have. His sort of, reckless style and the best spear since, I haven't seen a spear as good as Goldberg until Braun Breaker came along. Also, shout out to Goldberg, who recently went on record saying he thinks, this might be a controversial statement for some of you, but he thinks Braun Breaker is the only wrestler in WWE who should be doing the spear. He said that that Braun Breaker said his spear is so good, no one else should be doing it. And honestly, I agree with Goldberg on that. And I know that eliminates Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and a few other people who like to give spears, Charlotte or whatever. I mean, I don't think it counts. I think women can still do the spear, but absolutely, Braun Breaker has got the best spear in the game to me. Rhino's wasn't bad, Justin. I just wholeheartedly disagree that Edge's was good. I don't think his spear was that great. His positioning on it was I was just never a fan of it. Anyway, so at the end of the night, I really, really do not want Goldberg being world champion. Because I don't like someone with Goldberg's temporary status holding a title while we've already got John Cena and Becky Lynch. Is there anybody else who gives off the vibes of part-time who's a champion right now? No, but maybe just those two. But no, I don't know. I really, really in my heart of hearts want Gunther to absolutely make an example out of Goldberg and put him down in this match. But I just have a very strong feeling that Goldberg is not about that life and maybe wouldn't have come back if that was the booking he was going to get. And I just don't think he would agree to come back unless he was going to win. And I've heard many people say, well, what about if Goldberg wins the match and then Seth cashes in afterwards? And that would at least be better than Goldberg winning and still having the title. But also I don't know, I get the impression that Seth is really more eyeing Cena's title than Gunther. But you know what? He has been showing up on Raw more than anything. So yeah, I guess that's that. So I'll tell you what I'm going to say. Let me just say both things so we're clear. If you're asking me what I want to happen, I want Gunther to absolutely obliterate Goldberg. I want him to Goldberg. And then Goldberg can enjoy his retirement like I thought he had been doing before. What I think may happen, though, is they may acquiesce to Goldberg's reputation on TV anyways, of somehow getting a chance to beat Gunther, but maybe Seth Rollins cashes in on him. And so I'm going to pick Goldberg against my desires. I don't want to, but Justin, you ask if Gunther wins, who's next? I think CM Punk is next. I think CM Punk comes after him next. They've already teased that up a little bit about him, eyeing Gunther in the world title. Dude, if they manage to have CM Punk versus Gunther, that would be, I wouldn't know what to think in a match like that. That would be absolutely wild. And there is a part of me that kind of in Hunter's brain is like, you know what? I'm just going to give CM Punk a microphone and let him cut a promo on Goldberg. Let me just position two people who I had bad reputations with in the past. Let me just go ahead and put them against each other. But anyways, at the end of the day, I think Goldberg's probably going to win this, and I don't like it one bit. I'm not looking forward to reacting to that on Saturday. But I tell you what, man, if Gunther pulls it out, I'm going to be a very, very happy man. So that does it for Saturday night's main event, at least in regards to those predictions. And so now let's have some fun and let's go to Sunday's predictions for Evolution, the all-ladies pay-per-view we have not had, I believe, since 2018. Maybe it was 2019. Nevertheless, it's been longer than 5 years since we've had a PLE completely dedicated to the ladies of WWE. Can CM Punk survive a Gunther chop? I'd love to find out. Visually, I wouldn't want to find out. Physically, that would be terrible. Doesn't sound like a happy day at all. But here we are. So Evolution, we have got 7 matches on the card for Evolution. So thankfully they broke the 5-match curse. We still have a Smackdown to go too. There is a possibility that we get one more match announced for Evolution, although I think it's unlikely. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and get things rolling. We'll start with a no-holds-barred match between the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill, and the Mrs. Money in the Bank holder, Naomi. So we've got Jade and Naomi renewing their rivalry in a no-holds-barred match. One of them, Jade, has already locked in a title opportunity for SummerSlam, being Queen of the Ring, and Naomi has a title match anytime she wants it with that Money in the Bank briefcase. Let me break it down for you real simple. My philosophy for this match is very similar to what I said about LA Knight and Seth Rollins. I think Jade is going to win this match because the Money in the Bank briefcase holder holds an advantage at any point in time that they need. And also, to double down on that for Jade, Jade is Queen of the Ring. She's going to need to be looking dominant heading in to taking on whoever she's taking on at SummerSlam, whether it's Tiffany Stratton, whether it's Trish Stratus, whether it's someone else by then. Do I think Bianca gets involved in this match? I don't think so. I don't think we see Bianca yet. I don't think she shows up. But I think she will be involved in this story again sometime in the near future. Now, I'll say this. I'm going to say Naomi doesn't take this win. One, because Jade can look stronger going into SummerSlam, but also my long-term agenda making for Naomi has always been for her to go to SummerSlam, to wait for Jade to win the women's championship, and then cash in on Jade and take the title from her. Because if you want to cause the maximum amount of pain, sure, you can lose at Evolution, but on a much bigger stage like SummerSlam, and you're getting to take the very precious thing she's chasing, the women's championship, from her in the moment of her winning it. Sheamus did that to Roman Reigns once, I believe. Randy Orton did it to Daniel Bryan once. Anyway, these sorts of things where just when fans think Jade has ascended to championship status, that Naomi will cash in and take her opportunity and take the title from her there. So in order for that scenario to probably have its maximum gravitas, its maximum effect, I think Jade will win this match, this no holds barred match. But I think they'll deliver because Naomi's been delivering like nobody's business lately, and she's one of my favorites on the roster these days. All right, moving along, it's time for the NXT Women's Championship. We've got Jacy Jayne versus Jordynne Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. And listen, we've talked about this a little bit with Great American Bash and the prevailing narratives around Jacy Jayne and her beatability. Listen, I got to be honest. If Jordynne isn't winning here, then I'm not entirely sure what we're doing with her in NXT, because both she came up similarly around the times when Julia and Stephanie Vaquer both came up in NXT. And both Julia and Stephanie Vaquer, in terms of their time in the ring in NXT, very, very short. And you know what? They were both NXT women's champions for part of that time. So, like, their short time in NXT still didn't mean they weren't champions. And Jordynne, I don't know what we're doing with her if we're not putting the belt on her here. The only other scenario I can imagine is if for some reason, I heard a rumor they were discussing turning Blake Monroe heel already, that Blake could turn on Jordynne. But even if they want to turn Blake, doing it in this match would be stupid, because Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley put Blake through a table. And I mean, even if you want to turn heel, you don't want to award people who have committed such a grievous act against you. So I think even if Blake turns heel, I think it wouldn't be until after Jordynne is champion, and then that way she can make a claim to the title and try to take on Jordynne for the NXT title. But you think Blake is costing Grace? Okay, I mean, they could always go that route of like, "Ooh, I'm so sorry, I got in your way," whatever. I don't know what kind of accent that was supposed to be, but that's a possibility. But man, I just. I feel like we kind of made our point with Jacy Jayne being NXT Women's Champion, and we can move on from that now, especially when you've got people like Jordynne and Blake and Sol, Ruka, and Zara, all these other people. The winner does have to face Masha Slamovich. I see. Okay, I wasn't so sure about that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but didn't Jordynne and Masha take on each other a couple of times before Jordynne left TNA? I mean, they could revisit that feud as well. I could imagine crowds in TNA would rather see that match than see Jacy versus Masha. I'm just assuming, though, in that. So, anyways, put me down for Jordynne Grace. Also, at the beginning of the year, I made 5 predictions for the world of pro wrestling, and I have not. 3 of them have already failed to come to pass. But one I have left is Jordynne Grace becoming a champion in WWE. And also, the other one has to do with Bobby Lashley, but that one's probably going to fail too. So really, the only one I've got left that has a chance of making it is Jordynne Grace winning a title. So we'll see what happens from there. So we've got those 2 matches out of the way. Coming up next is a match I'm very interested in, which is a fatal 4-way for the Women's Tag Team Championship. We have the current Women's Tag Team Champions, Raquel Rodriguez, with Roxy Perez, who is filling in for Liv Morgan and is now a member of the Judgment Day, defending against a team from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. From SmackDown, we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss representing SmackDown. We have Sol, Ruka, and Zarya representing NXT, and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, representing Monday Night Raw. So I really believe this match, this has show-stealing capabilities here. And so I really think there's a lot of good combinations and things going on in this match. And honestly, I have a hard time picking this match, and I'll tell you why. One, they're 4 incredibly intriguing teams, because any four of those teams would make a good tag team champion. I would love for Zaruka to win this match, because you could take those titles down to NXT and finally do something with so many of these women in NXT who really don't have a lot of direction, even though they have 2 titles on that show. You have the Kabuki Warriors, because Asuka just returned. And then you have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, where Charlotte and Alexa, one, was the only team who actually qualified to win this match, to enter this match. And then you also have Charlotte and Alexa teaming up very freshly and very new as a new pathway for a story. And that's the thing that comes back to me is story. The prevailing story in this match really doesn't have to do with any of the teams except for Raquel and Roxy in the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is slowly being taken over by Finn Balor and by introducing Roxanne Perez into the faction by sort of taking credit for the faction holding all these titles now that he and JD are tag team champions. Dom's the Intercontinental Champion, and now Raquel and Roxy are tag team champions. And so this sort of power struggle, I think, is part of WWE's booking long game for them maintaining those titles and giving Liv Morgan something to do when she returns. So I think that Raquel and Roxanne are going to retain. Don't know how. There might be other turns involved. Charlotte and Alexa might disintegrate as a team. Zarya may turn on Zaruka. We've talked about that some on NXT. And then the Kabuki Warriors, I don't know. I don't think they're going to do anything wrong with them. But in this regard, I think at the end of the day, Raquel and Roxy walk away still holding on to the belts. So that's my pick for that match, is the champs retaining Judgment Day. Coming up next for the WWE Women's Championship, champion Tiffany Stratton defending against returning legend Trish Stratus. I got to tell you, far and away, this is the least interested I am in any match all weekend long. I do not care for one little bit about this match. I thought the promos were terrible. I just could not get any interest into this match. And it's nothing personal. Like, Trish has done a lot for women's wrestling during her era. Tiffany's very good in the ring. But in terms of character and selling the match, I just don't care all that much, if I'm being honest. And so at the end of the day, I don't see any reason why Trish will win this match. There's just no motivation or there's not even really like any direction after this to consider why Trish would win this match. So because were we really going to go to SummerSlam with Trish Stratus versus Jade Cargill for the women's title? Like, not one bit. I don't think so. So mark me down for Tiffy. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think that's the easiest pick all weekend long. All weekend long is Tiffany Stratton. All right, moving along. We've got 3 more matches left to go, and then we'll be done. So thank you guys for hanging with me. I know it hasn't been, I don't know, I thought the video would probably be longer with there being so many matches to go through, but we've done it pretty quickly. Coming up is the Evolution Battle Royal, and the winner of the Battle Royal will be a title contender at Clash in Paris. All the ladies you see on screen right now are at least women who have been announced and confirmed for the Battle Royal. So just to run it through, Tatum Paxley, Candice LeRae, Izzy Dame, Jada Parker, Julia, Zelina Vega, Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, Lola Vice, Ivy Nile, Kalani Jordan, Flash Legend, Natalia, and Maxine. If you had me guessing, first of all, who the final 4 would be, I'm going to guess at least 3 of the final 4 are going to be Stephanie, Julia, and Nikki Bella. And I think the 4th would probably be someone from NXT. So I'm going to say either Jada or Lash as the 4th there. But do I think Naomi will try and cash in? I don't think Naomi will try to cash in until SummerSlam. Now, Tessa Blanchard or Masha is your pick. Okay, have either of them, please tell me, Justin, has anyone from TNA formally been announced as being in the Battle Royal? Because these are the only women I've seen be announced during WWE programming, at least, which is, let's see, 14 women, maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 women, which is not really enough for a battle royal. I imagine you're going to get 6 more probably to make it an even 20. But we'll see where it comes from there. Now, at the end of the day, I've got to make a pick as to who's going to win this. And I do think it comes down to either Stephanie Vaquer or Nikki Bella. I know Nikki came back and the pretext was going to be that she was going to face Liv Morgan. But at the end of the day, I wonder if maybe because they had to pivot because of Liv's injury, which just sucks all around for everyone. I think Stephanie Vaquer wins this battle royal by eliminating Nikki Bella last. And Nikki Bella goes and calls Brie, and the Bella twins chase after the Judgment Day for the women's titles, and Stephanie Vaquer will take on the women's world champion at Clash in Paris. So, speaking of that match, this isn't the main. I mean, I've got one more match to go after this, but it dovetails nicely. We have Io Sky defending against Rhea Ripley for the women's world title, and the winner of that match still has to go to SummerSlam. And after that, then would defend against the Battle Royal winner if that Battle Royal winner was from Raw, like I'm predicting Stephanie Vaquer. So if you're asking me who I think of those 2 women could defend against Stephanie Vaquer at the end of August, probably Rhea Ripley. They keep telling the story that she can't beat Io, and, she hasn't beaten Io yet. And Evolution may just be the time they pull the trigger on that. I love Io, and I would love to see her win still, just because I'm a fan of hers. But if we're moving forward now, I'm not saying Stephanie and Io wouldn't have a bad match either. They would be great, and I would love to see that too. But I just feel like the marketing, the branding, the advertising, all that stuff, there's probably a lot of money in the Stephanie Rhea match. And at the same time, maybe Stephanie and Rhea could face at SummerSlam for one reason or another. I don't know. But yeah, I picked Stephanie for the Battle Royal, so I'm going to pick Rhea for the world title match. You're picking Io Sky. Hey, Justin, that's a great that's a great pick because I love Io as well. She's awesome. All right. Well, we have made it to the last match of the night in terms of predictions. And it's for the Women's Intercontinental title. It's a pretty well-built match between Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley. Some of the promos are here or there, unless Becky's involved, because Becky is a fantastic promo cutter. She's 1 in a million in the women's division when it comes to being on the mic, honestly, compared to a lot of the men as well. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to see where they're going with this. Bayley and Lyra traded a couple of matches here and there before WrestleMania. Then Becky loses to Lyra, then beats her, and now has the title on the line against both Lyra and Bayley. Call me crazy, but for a show like Evolution, I just don't know if they'll do the title change here, because I think there may be other title changes that happen. I think because of other title changes that may happen, we could end up seeing Becky retain here. I think that Lyra and Bayley probably won't be able to get out of each other's way in this match, and that's going to cost both of them. I don't know that it's time for Lyra to turn heel, but I will say this. I do like her aggression more. And I don't know that that necessitates a heel turn per se, but if that just gives her a little more attitude in the ring, I think that's good for her. Because character wise, it's been a little bland for her, but her wrestling ability, like, it deserves better than the character she's been putting out there. So I think giving her a little bit more, teeth sort of in her approach is really good. And so what she did on Monday, I thought, that was helpful. And so I don't know that it needs a full on heel turn. So I won't say yes that it's time for her to turn heel, but that added layer of edge could be what she needs to get the title back as well. I just don't think it'll be Sunday. I think that's a journey she'll still be on for maybe another week or two, and then fully morph into whatever she's going to be. Maybe get the title back after that point. But I think Sunday, I think Becky still finds a way to retain. So those are my picks. Just to revisit, I did pick Ricky Saints over Ethan Page. I picked Jasper Troy over Javon Evans. I picked Izzy Dame over Sol Ruka. And I picked Jordan and Blake over Fatal Influence. Picked Obafemi over Inamura. For Saturday night's main event, I picked LA Knight over Seth Rollins. I picked Drew McIntyre over Randy Orton. Picked Goldberg over Gunther, begrudgingly. And then for Evolution, I picked Judgment Day to retain, Tiffany Stratton to retain, Jordan Grace to become the new NXT Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquer to win the Women's Battle Royal, Jade Cargill to win the No Holds Barred match, Becky Lynch to retain the Intercontinental title, and Rhea Ripley to win the world title. So we'll see how that's going to go. And listen, that's all just WWE programming. AEW is bringing All In on Saturday, which is going to be a wild, wild show, I'm sure. And so there'll be a lot to experience there as a wrestling fan. Question, do you think that we'll get Dark State at Great American Bash? I'm going to say no. One, because they seem to be in the thick of a storyline with TNA right now because they attacked Matt Cardona. I'm hearing more talk about that. Also, Great American Bash doesn't have any representation for the men's tag division. So I don't think they're going to show up because they don't have anything to do unless they're the ones who show up during the contract signing for the TNA title. Now that could be something there, that they show up and maybe attack Santana and Joe Hendry. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But that's probably the closest I would see from Dark State because they seem to be more involved with TNA talent at present time than anything else. So, we will see what happens. But nevertheless, we got pretty much a good solid hour, everyone, out of the predictions. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I will be live tomorrow for SmackDown, and I'll also be live for Great American Bash for Saturday night's main event and for Evolution. So it's going to be a busy weekend, but get your snacks, stay hydrated, and we'll watch a lot of good wrestling together this weekend. So I hope you guys are excited and ready for it, and I hope we get some fun surprises and great matchups this weekend. I know it'll be a blast and have a really great time. So until then, please do not forget to be a mark because being a mark just means you believe, and believing makes wrestling better. So I hope everyone has a great evening. I will see you guys again very soon. See you tomorrow. And until then, have a great evening. Have a great time.